In this part of the Car Rental in Ireland series, we're looking at one of the most common traveler questions. Can you take your rental car into Northern Ireland or even across to Scotland? Here's what you need to know before planning a trip that crosses borders. Welcome to another Traveling in Ireland Quick Tips episode, where I share one piece of advice to help you make the most of your Ireland vacation. I'm Jody Halstead, Ireland travel advisor and host of the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Many travelers who are visiting Ireland plan to explore beyond the Republic's borders, whether that means heading into Northern Ireland or possibly taking the car on a ferry across the Irish Sea to Scotland. While crossing the border on the island is easy, taking a rental car beyond that is not always straightforward. Here's how to make sure you're covered and avoid unexpected costs or insurance problems along the way. When you travel between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, it's very simple. There's no checkpoint, no customs stop, and in most places you're going to cross the border without even knowing it. Unless you're on a motorway where there is a sign that says "Welcome to Northern Ireland," you're probably not going to notice the change until you see a speed limit sign. The Republic of Ireland uses kilometers, while Northern Ireland uses miles per hour. So if you notice a change in the speed limit sign, you know you've crossed the border. What does change, however, when you cross that border is the rules that are attached to your rental agreement. Rental companies charge a cross-border fee. Now, usually this is a flat rate for the entire rental period to cover any additional insurance requirements or other fees. These will average anywhere between 34 and 40 euro for the rental. And there are a couple of car rental companies that include these automatically in your quote. So, but you're paying for it. No matter what, you are paying this cross-border fee if you are crossing the border. If you're not sure what fees can be charged when you rent a car in Ireland, be sure to go back and review car rental fees and hidden costs for more information. This is part of this rental series. It is episode number 2. Now, if you are picking up your car in Dublin, Shannon, wherever, and the rental is not with one of those companies that automatically includes that coverage, they will ask you if you plan to visit Northern Ireland. Now, if you booked this and added it to your trip when you booked your car rental, you're golden. But there are some that will require you to pay this on pickup. So be honest with them and don't try to avoid the fee. Firstly, they're going to know if you cross the border. Those cars are monitored, whether you like it or not, they know where you're going. And second, if you don't share that information, you could void your coverage and you'll be liable for any damage or incidents that occur while you are north of the border. So just be honest, pay the little fee, and you will be good to go. Another question that I receive often is, can I pick up a car in Dublin and drop it off in Belfast, or vice versa? Not every rental company is going to allow this, so you have to do your research. The first thing you have to look for is, does the rental company have a location in both countries? So, is it in Belfast and Dublin? Is it in, Derry and Shannon? However you're going to do it, you have to make sure that the company has a pickup and drop-off location in both countries. The next thing you need to realize is that there may be an extra fee for that international drop-off because that car has to come back to the country that it was rented from. So there are fees for that. You would want to check the terms and conditions to be sure. What I recommend doing is creating a few test bookings and comparing the prices, then digging into the terms and conditions. A little pro tip when you are out on the road in Ireland, keep your rental agreement in the glove box. Don't carry it around with you. This rental agreement includes all insurance, roadside service information, and anything you might need if there is an incident. So just keep it in the car. Now, what if you want to take the rental car to Scotland or somewhere else in the UK? This is something that is asked very, very often. Ferries operate from Dublin and Belfast to several ports in Scotland and England, but most rental companies don't allow their vehicles to leave the island of Ireland. If Scotland is part of your itinerary, the easiest option is to return your rental car to Belfast or Dublin and then book a separate rental once you arrive in Scotland. Now, there are a few rental companies that occasionally permit cars to travel by ferry, but it's rare. It always requires advance approval. Policies can change without notice, so it is essential to confirm this before you book and not when you arrive at the dock. One company that has traditionally allowed rental cars to cross into Scotland is My Irish Cousin. Now, this is a full coverage car rental company. And when I spoke to them last, what I was told was that you just have to confirm that the car will be insured and able to cross into Scotland. But the caveat is that you must return it back to the Republic of Ireland. And for many people, that's kind of the deal breaker. They want a vehicle that they can take from Ireland and leave in Scotland. And that is not something that I have found any company in Ireland will allow. The cost of returning that car to Ireland can be expensive for them. And if you were to rent in Ireland, drop off in Scotland without the permission, you would see a very large fee onto your credit card for that convenience. Just to show that to you, I want to share Sixt, their unauthorized taking charge. So you will see, going back to the cross-border fee, here it is, €40 for a car from Sixt to cross the border. But right below that in their terms and conditions is the unauthorized taking charge. And the first thing it says is vehicles may not be taken outside the island of Ireland. No insurance protections apply to the vehicle outside of Ireland. And here is the kicker. If you take that car across to Wales, England, or Scotland, you will be fined a minimum of €1,250. That is a huge amount. And then if you left it there and they had to go and get it, I would expect that to triple at least. So don't take your car out of Ireland without express permission. I'm going to also show you budget. And this is just testing and seeing what's allowed. So if we go to budget.ie and we enter our pickup location of Dublin, and let's just say we want to do this next spring, and we change the return location to, let's say, Edinburgh. Choose that date and select the car. We cannot offer you a vehicle for those locations, dates, and times. So this isn't even going to allow you to book it. Now, I believe that when I tried this with Sixt, it did allow me to book it. And that's where reading the terms and conditions comes in to be so, so important. Now, like I said, if permission is granted for you to take the car off the island of Ireland, you need to be prepared for an increased rate for the insurance and a return fee to cover just in case something happens to the vehicle. If it's damaged outside of Ireland, there's going to be a fee, a return fee on it. In most cases, arranging separate rentals on each side of the Irish Sea is simpler, cheaper, and far less stressful. And pro tip, it may even cost less to fly from Dublin or Belfast to Edinburgh or Glasgow. Check your budget airlines like Ryanair and EasyJet and just take a look at those. A lot of the times you're going to find it to just be cheaper and far less hassle than taking the car across, bringing the car back. It's a lot of time out of your day to do that. To wrap up, I've got a few practical tips for cross-border travel in Ireland. Car insurance and currency vary between the North and the South. The Republic of Ireland uses the euro, while Northern Ireland uses the pound sterling. Most credit cards are accepted on both sides of the border, but it's still helpful to have a small amount of local cash if you're traveling outside of the major towns. As I said before, you're going to notice a difference in the road signs. Distances and speed limits in the Republic are in kilometers, and in Northern Ireland, they switch to miles. So keep that in mind when you're checking your speed, setting your cruise control, and judging your travel time. Mobile coverage can vary near the border just because, again, different countries, different locations of those towers. So check whether your phone plan includes both Irish and UK networks. If you are using your home mobile phone plan, make sure that when you say you're going to Ireland, you specify that you will be going into Northern Ireland as well. Again, those are different countries with different phone providers. So you have to make sure that you are covered for both of them. And if you're using a GPS or a map app, make sure your destination didn't switch country settings automatically when you cross the border. It's an easy mistake that can be made because there are towns on both sides of the border that share similar names. So make sure that you're going to the right place once you cross that border and it switches towers. So yes, you can take your rental car across the border into Northern Ireland, possibly into Scotland. Again, do your homework. Your agreement must allow it. Make sure you've paid your fees and you have that proof in your rental contract tucked into your glove box. The next episode, the final episode of this car rental in Ireland series, wraps up with how to save money on your Ireland car rental. I'm sharing the do's and don'ts that can make your rental cheaper and easier. Thanks so much for joining me. Slán for now.